Go,
I'm Fabiola
Fabiola.
Beracasa Beckman, and I am a film producer. I will tell you a little bit more about myself later because right now we have a very important lady waiting for us from New York. I'm working on her movie, Diane Von Furstenberg. We are doing her life story, and it will be out next year. So we're very excited about this, but I want you all to have the chance to hear her because she is a genius and an incredible trailblazer. So without further ado, I think she's coming. DVF!
Super. Hi.
Hi, DVF. Say hi to Miami.
Hi.
So,
My
DVF,
God, I am so big. I'm too big.
are you?
I'm too big of a, in the screen. How are you?
So, DVF, can you see me? Hi.
I can see you very well.
Perfect. So, I was just telling the crowd that, we started working on this movie together, and that I asked you for about a 5-year period if you would do a documentary. And finally, you said yes. And I guess I'm going to ask you in front of everybody, why did you finally say yes to allowing us to do a documentary on you?
Well, okay. So I have to, first of all, hello, everybody. Hola. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in flesh, but you have me very big on the screen. So I have known Fabiola even before she was born. My first husband went to school with her father, and so I've known her parents, I've known her grandparents, and then one day Fabiola comes into my office, and with this, she had done a very successful documentary on the Met Ball, and she said to me, I really would love to do a documentary about you. And I said, well, thank you very much, but I'm really not interested. And she kept on trying for years. And then I, though, have a friend who is a documentary director, Charmine Obaid-Chenoy, and she won 2 Oscars for short documentaries. And I had this intention of doing with her a series of short documentary about these exceptional women of vital voices that I work with. But we went to a lot of networks, and nobody wanted it. And every network would tell Charmine, we would like a documentary on her, meaning me. And so then I remembered that Fabiola wanted to do a documentary, and I introduced the 2 of them, and I agreed to have Fabiola be the producer and Charmine being the director. And but the whole concept and the way they sold it to me, it wasn't going to be a glorified thing about me, but it was they would be able to talk about all these exceptional women that I work with through me, and using me to open the doors to a lot of women. And what Charmine said is that I want every woman in the world, in Africa, in Europe, in South America, everywhere, to see this movie and to know that they too can become the women they want to be. And that's how they seduced me, and that's how we agreed. And Ulu Disney has done the movie. I am only the subject. I'm not responsible of anything else. I'm just the subject. That's it. That's the story.
DVF, you are, obviously, I know you so well, and the thing that I love the most about you is that you are an empowered woman who empowers women. Even the wrap dress was a manifestation of empowering women. You know, it was a dress that was made to make women's lives easier. Tell me about how you came to this mission in your life, this path that you took.
You know, life, when you begin life, you don't know where you're going. You don't know what door will be your door. I did not know what I wanted to do. but I knew the woman I wanted to be. I wanted to be a woman in charge. How I became a woman in charge is really truly an accident. How I got in fashion, first I got in fashion because I worked in the business of the image. I worked for a photographer's agent. Then I went to work in a factory, and there in the factory where they were making, where it was a printing factory and a knitting mill, I learned everything. And then I started to make a few samples, and then I came to America to visit my boyfriend. And then I knew I wanted very much to go back to America, and I started making samples. And then I got engaged, pregnant, and married in that order. And so that pushed me even more to want to be independent and to be I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew the kind of woman I wanted to be. I wanted to be a woman in charge. And I became a woman in charge because of a dress. And because it was a dress, I went around, selling my clothes to women all around the country. And as I was getting more and more confident, I was passing on my confidence through a dress. And I was helping other women to be or to feel like the woman they wanted to be. And it was a time in history, women liberation, and these little dresses looked like nothing. But when you put them on, they were sexy and easy. And somebody once said something. He said, those are the kind of dresses that the men like and their mothers don't mind. Oh, that didn't get much reply. Okay.
So, what is your driving force for helping women, empowering women in everything you do, whether it's Vital Voices or with your dresses, or I go so often to your studio and you have talks that are there to empower women, to help women move forward in their lives. What's your driving force for that?
Well, what does it mean to be in charge? It's not an aggressive statement. To be in charge is first and foremost a commitment to ourselves. It's owning who we are. We own our imperfection, they become our assets. We own our vulnerability, we turn it into strength. So, and Sandra, actually, I think she's in the audience, told me, well, if you have a movement and if you have a manifesto, you need micro steps. So what are the micro steps to be? Because really the key to everything is to be inspired and to inspire, right? So my trick, I try to make one miracle every day. And all of you can do that by introducing via email. You could do it via email. You don't have to speak. You just have to do a right introduction to one person, to another person that I would have never met otherwise. And you make a miracle. Because we all have a magic wand. And the more we use our magic wand, the more powerful a magic wand gets. Of course, you can't really use a magic wand on yourself, but by using it on people, it comes back to you as a boomerang. So that's the first step, is to connect. Remember to connect and remember to pay attention to details. Number 2 is expand. Expand your horizon. Expand. So once a week, try to give quality time to someone that normally you wouldn't have talked to. And you think you do it for them, but actually it will end up being for you because it will expand your horizon. Third one is the most important, is to inspire. And nothing is more inspirational than storytelling. We know that, right? But we all must remember that the most inspiring things are not your success. what is inspiring to people is to talk about your challenges, to talk about your difficulties, because that is what will inspire people. And the fourth one is to, to be an activist, to engage yourself in issues that you believe in. So how do I get my strength? How do I get my strength? I don't know. I wake up. First of all, I wake up, and very often I wake up and I feel like a loser. Remember, only losers don't feel like losers. So it's perfectly all right if because my advice, number one, whether it is for you as a person or as a brand or as a business, the most important advice is to be true to yourself. If you are true to yourself, you will be free. Even if you are in jail, you're free. But if you're not true to yourself, you won't feel free. But in order to be true to yourself, it's a practice, but it's hard work, because it means you have to be hard on yourself. You have to be, you can't be delusional. You have to really look at yourself for what you really are. But it's worth it. So, and the other thing that goes together is the most important relationship in life is the one you have with yourself. Once you have that, any other relationship becomes a plus and not a must, because you don't want to be needy.
Bravo. So I think you've had enough questions from me. We're going to open up a few questions to the audience. I know everybody here is very eager to ask you questions. Should we get them a mic? Huh? You got it? So who has a question for DVF? Aquí.
Okay, I have a question. Number one, I just want to say that I love you, first and foremost, and I find you so beautiful. I really do. But other than that, how do you make yourself relevant every single day? Because you do.
Well, first of all, I'm 76 years old. Okay, so I am really, the way I have lived, I should be 300 years old, because I've lived very, very fully. How do you stay relevant? I think you stay relevant by reading, by being curious, by finding out things. But reading, even during COVID, when nobody could go anywhere, I became very good friends with people because I read their books and I looked for them. And intimacy, So how do you stay relevant? I don't know. I'm glad you think I am relevant, but I love life. Oh, probably, okay, I got an answer. Probably by honoring life every single day. I think to honor life is the most important thing.
Hi, Diane. How are you? Thanks for being here with us. My question to you is, because I feel like everything that you do in life is exactly who is in the audience right now. We're all women trying to dream big, work really hard. You're the perfect example of a woman that has reinvented herself over and over. And
that's for sure.
And I think, what advice would you give to a young entrepreneur here in the audience today that is going through, economic crisis after COVID? How do you get up again after such a big failure?
First of all, what I said, you should not be afraid to admit your difficulties or your vulnerabilities. It's like when you negotiate with somebody, or you are trying to get a job, or you're trying to sell yourself. Think about the negative things that person may think about you, and you bring it up first. If you bring it up first, you neutralize it. So you have to, that's what I said, you have to like yourself. You have to believe in yourself. But in order to believe in yourself, you have to be hard on yourself. So it's complicated, but you have to be true to who you are. You have to be able to go by the mirror and say hi in your, when you see yourself. You have to have the complicity with yourself. I write my diary, and my big advice to everyone is write your diary. I have written my diary ever since I was 15 years old. And by just writing your diary, it doesn't matter what you write, but you become your best friend. And that is the most important thing, that you stay your best friend. And if you are your best friend, as you would for a best friend, you must criticize them, advise them, and love them.
So I am Titina Pensini. I live in New York. I know Fabiola and her family very well. And when I was a kid, I was growing up in Caracas, and I remember my mom buying all your wrap dresses that were a revolution. She traveled a lot, so they were the perfect solution for women who had to pack and leave and come and go. So you made a big impact on me when I was a child, and I went to Parsons School of Design because I wanted to become a fashion designer. Thing is that I found out that you really needed too much money for that, so I became a jewelry designer. So my question for you is, I am in a certain generation, but you have impacted so many generations of women. So my question to you is, how does it make you feel, that impact that you have done on so many women?
Well, thank God I don't think about it all the time, but and as you get older, that's what I was trying to say, to connect and to try to make a miracle every day. By making a miracle, and I do make miracles every day for people, and by doing that, it compounds. It's like an investment, and it makes babies, and of course, it makes me feel good because it also gives a purpose to my life. And at first, you have to worry about yourself. How am I going to be independent? How I can pay my bills? How I can take care of my children? All of that. And at the same time, inventing your life. You are not master of your destiny. You cannot decide where you're born. You cannot decide your destiny. But what you can do is you can navigate your destiny. And sometimes it's raining and you have to deal with the rain, and sometimes it's sunny. But if you are close to you, and if you trust yourself, and if you are your best friend, then it's easier. But I will have to say that one day recently, or 2 years ago, I had to do a full scan of my body, and I had to be very quiet. And so I said, okay, let's pretend that they could do a scan of my soul, anima, right? And what would come out in the picture of my soul? And of course, I didn't come up with an answer right away. But a few months later, it was the end of the winter, and I was in my house in Connecticut, and I was walking in it was all dead leaves, and I saw one little bright green stick coming out of the soil, bright green, with a little curly head. And that is a fiddler that will then open and becomes a large, large leaf, the fern. And I realized that that's what I am. I was born, I wasn't supposed to be born. 18 months before I was born, my mother was liberated from the concentration camp. She weighed 29 kilos. She wasn't supposed to survive, and she certainly was not supposed to have a child immediately. And yet I was born. So the symbol of my birth was already a triumph over misery. And I realize now that I am an older woman and that I'm in the winter of my life. I realize that that symbol is who I am, honoring life and therefore always going ahead, ahead, and ahead, and not being afraid. My mother never wanted me to be a victim, and she never wanted me to be afraid. If I was afraid of the dark, she would lock me in a closet. Today, she could go to jail for locking me in the closet. But really, I am thankful that she locked me in the closet, because once I was in the closet, I realized that, first of all, there's always a little bit of light. And even if there isn't, why be afraid of the dark?
Hi, Diane. Thank you so much for being here with us. My name is Sigal. I own a resort wear brand based here in Miami. And my question to you has more to do with design and sort of assortment. We know your story with the wrap dresses, and I was wondering, when and how did you decide to evolve from the wrap dresses? How did you do it? What did you go into? How did you expand into a full assortment of a collection? And how did you grow?
Well, first of all, if you all, by the way, you can all buy my book called The Woman I Wanted to Be, and it's my own voice, so I can talk to you at length how I did it. I was successful so young. By the time I was 27, I was making 25,000 dresses a week. But then when you're very, very successful, you go up, you go down. Nobody goes up, up, up all the time. You just have to adapt. And you have to follow your instinct and doing what is right, and always remain yourself and grow and learn, because you learn your own experience with your own mistakes, and you grow. And by the way, growth is not always great. Sometimes you grow too fast. That happened to me too. So as I said, you have to navigate your destiny. You have to navigate your life, and sometimes it's raining and miserable, and sometimes it's sunny.
Hello, Diane. It's such an honor to talk to you. I want us to connect back to that story you were talking, that you do journaling, since you were 15. That says a lot about the relationship you have with yourself. And as women, that's the most important relationship we should have, the one that we should nurture. What would you tell that 15-year-old Diane about what she has accomplished today?
Sometimes my brother, I have a younger brother, and sometimes he sends me pictures of when I was little. And I look at that little girl, and I totally recognize her. She is me. I mean, you think you grow a lot and you think you do a lot, but you are very much the same person that you are. And where do I get my strength? It's funny. I get my strength. When I need my strength, I need to go to the mirror. And into my eyes, I find my strength. Not that I think I look good, and as a matter of fact, less and less. But in my eyes, I find my strength. I find my soul. And so what would I tell my young person? I would just say, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. And that's what I tell all of you. Go for it. Live the journey of your life. Enjoy the journey. And remember to be kind. Generosity is the best investment. Don't worry about people taking advantage of you. Just be generous and like yourself. Enjoy yourself.
Diane, my name is Margarita Arriagada. This is a really special moment for me because I launched your brand when you first launched at Bullock's Wilshire in Los Angeles. I launched your
Oh
brand
my God,
exclusively.
can I see your face?
I don't know if you can see my face or not, but I also launched your beauty brand at Sephora. And you've been a huge inspiration, obviously, to all of us. I've created a brand that I'd like to think you're a big inspiration in that I'm trying to convey
A brand of what?
a beauty. Some vessels, beauty vessels, that are really meant more than anything else to convey the message that you started, right? I remember your tagline like if it was yesterday, right? Feel like a woman, wear a dress.
That's
right. And so I've lived your journey. And I want to thank you on behalf of all of us for how much you've inspired us. It's what I want my brand to be. It's what I want us to continue to inspire. But my question to you is, being such a leader, you know that women are part of the solution. What can we do collectively as women? I know that you're a leader in Vital Voices, and I think that there's so much more that we can unite on.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for everything. And yes, I do believe that women have to get together, because I think that our power and our energy is what is needed in the world today. I do think that we women would not go to wars. We women do not like guns. I don't think we like to destroy. I think I do think that women are part of the solution. And why we are part of the solution, some of it, I always say, we have to look for the solution. And then when we find the solution, we have to remember seduction. And by meaning seduction, I don't mean about showing our legs, even though if you have good legs, you can show them. But it's about seducing people to sell the solution. It doesn't matter if they think the solution is theirs. So I do think, and I'm very much thinking about this right now, and I am incubating, and I'm not quite sure what I'm incubating, but yes, Vital Voices is this extraordinary network of badass women in 184 countries, and there are women who make things happen. And I am very much thinking of how we can actually mobilize the female race, and by remember compassion, and remember heart, and remember love, and believe in the light. Because I know right now things are looking very dark, and it's very, very difficult to find the light. But we have to look for the light, however tiny the light may be. And we have to build around the light, and cherish the light, and share the light, and grow the light. Because eventually, it's always the light that pushes the darkness away.
Thank you, DVF. Thank you so much. Guys, I pinch myself every day that I get to have DVF in my life and that I get to bring her story to the world. So I'm very lucky, and thank you for speaking to the audience and to Miami. We really appreciate it.
Goodbye, adios a todas. Buena suerte.
Thank you, DVF.